Hi everyone, I'm just going to give my John Maxwell reflection for today, and it's for September the 7th. The scripture is Judges 9, 1-2. Then Ahimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, went to Shechem, to his mother's brothers, and spoke with them and with all the family of the house of his mother's father, saying, Please speak in the hearing of all the men of Shechem, which is better for you, that all 70 of the sons of Jerubbaal reign over you, or that one reign over you. Remember that I am your own flesh and bone. So the scripture for today with John Maxwell, he's just encouraging us to remember that we can be gifted communicators, tacticians, set our hearts on becoming leaders, but we have to have our heart in the right place, and that is with God. And he gives this example here. At first glance, Ahimelech might seem like an ideal candidate for leadership, a gifted communicator and skilled communicator, skilled tactician. He set his heart on becoming the ruler of his people. He had a passion to lead, but passion does not mean fitness. After the death of his father, Gideon, ambitious Abimelech, kept his eye on the leadership of Israel, but he never sought God's view of his career choice. He employed worthless and reckless men to enforce his will, and as a leader he murdered 70 potential competitors. In the end, the self-promoting power seeker and his cronies all died under the terrifying frown of God. Self-promotion may work in the short run, but over the long haul, God makes sure that it fails. Godly leaders must remind themselves of the Lord's instruction. Humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. And that's from 1 Peter 5:6. So in today's world, especially in North America, if you don't promote yourself, if you don't talk about your skills, if you don't talk about what you're doing, how you're doing it, you will not get anywhere in this life over here. But at the same time, we have to know that our lives are in God's hands. God has a plan for each of us, and they killed Jesus because he didn't keep the law. So he was always breaking the Jewish law. Everything he did, he broke a law. He broke a law eating on the Sabbath with his disciples because they were hungry. He broke the law by going out and healing outside the temple. He broke the laws by having the Last Supper in the upper room. He broke every law that they held in high regard. And he broke the laws by not allowing a stoning of the adulterous woman. He broke every law, because they would have, if they had caught the man, they would have stoned the man too. But Jesus's idea of the law takes us back to the heart of God, and Jesus takes us away from what will take us away from God. He will remove us from either that situation, or he will make us turn and look the other side to something else, where his will is for what he wants done in our lives. And so I thought that was a good reflection for today. And if we are too pig-headed, if we are too much about our accomplishments and what we did and who we are, and God sees that, God doesn't let it go for very long. I was surprised this week. I was listening to the Mass from Knox Shrine, and the priests were talking about how this abuse in the church, the abuse by priests of women and children and the vulnerable, is still going on. And he was asking us to pray that it would end. And really, if we know that we're sick, if we know that you have that type of tendency, you should remove yourself from the priesthood. Because, for me, I don't meet with people who I feel unsafe with. I speak up if I feel unsafe. And even with the priests, if I don't like something, I tell them. I might not do it in front of everyone. I might call them, but I tell them. Because we can pray, but we also have to take action. We also have to be aware for our own families and for our own friends that if somebody is coming to you, whether it's a priest or an executive or somebody in authority, and someone's coming to you like me and saying, this is abuse, I don't like this, and I want it to stop, the priest has no right to go and tell the community, oh, they like her, because I'm telling you I don't like it. So if I'm coming to your church and I'm telling you I don't like it, you should also be telling the people, the congregation, they saying they like her, but she doesn't like them. And she doesn't like what they're doing. She doesn't like Credit Suisse going around telling everyone Eddie was hoping to be friends with her, harassing her, putting calls through to her work, spoiling her reputation. You should also be telling them that. Because now they're releasing all these names of all these priests that abuse people, that abuse children, that sexually assaulted women and children, and even men. They're doing it now after they're dead and gone, or after they left the priesthood, so they're protecting them. No one is going to protect Credit Suisse, and nobody is going to protect the priests if they continue to harbor the sin of saying that, oh, but they like them. So because they like them doesn't give them the right to carry on destroying my life, my career, to carry on putting me back into minimum wage, and then as soon as I get an opportunity to come up, letting me go, not putting me into positions where I can earn a decent living and my family can also come up. Because I'm not the abuser. I'm not the one going around abusing children and women and girls. I'm not the one that's doing all that. And I'm not the one covering up for Credit Suisse. And even those judges that put Boris Becker in jail, they should be ashamed. They should be ashamed. Which bankers have they put in jail? Have they put any banker in jail? But no, they were willing to come after me for defamation, for asking for references, and for asking that people stop calling my workplaces saying that the executive were wanting to be friends with me. I don't be friends with people. I'm not going to work as an executive assistant to be your friend. I'm there to partner with you to do a job, whether it's in HR or project management or even in the church. I'm not there to be your friend. And the young priests that are coming up know it. They know it. They stand up for me, even if the older priests don't. Father Gunther stood up for me. A lot of priests stood up for me. If they continue this abuse in the church, I feel sorry for the church. That's all I can say. Because my passion is not, God is not only in the church and in the Eucharist, in the Blessed Sacrament. God is with us wherever we go. And Jesus took people away from the establishment because of how they were abusing people. So what did they do? They turned around and killed him. It's easy for the priest to say it's our collective sin. Yeah, it is our collective sin. But they were the ones who crucified him, the ones who had the power, the ones who had the authority, and the police, just like them today, incited the crowds to say crucify him, not to defend him. If this kingdom was of God's will, Jesus wouldn't have died on that cross. He wouldn't have died. And I'm sick of all the filth in the church. I'm sick of it. Why didn't all the priests should have sued Credit Suisse for what they did to me. And they know it. I'm not just a reader at the church. I didn't deserve to be taken off the list of readers. And if they don't want me in the church, that's perfectly fine with me. I don't have a problem with it. It's going to be their loss.